How's it going, American truckers? I hope every one of y'all out there is staying safe, staying out of trouble. I'm Snapper. Those of y'all that follow my channel, y'all know who I am. If you're new to the channel, I'm a truck driver. I'm from Texas. But I kind of do, everything involving with trucking. Got my nighttime glasses on. I'm parked here in Southwest Houston, and kind of in the hood, so I've been up kind of watching what's going on. Plus there's a storm kind of rolling in, so I've been up watching that. I like to ride the storms out. But I want to discuss things that are wrong with the industry. I try to keep this channel positive for the most part, but eventually we got to face the elephant in the room, right? Things that could be improved within the industry. Now, don't get me wrong. Some of these things, all these things that I'm going to discuss, I've accepted as normal over the years. It doesn't make it normal. Doesn't mean it's right. Just because we've accepted it doesn't mean that it's right. And actually, part of the problem might be that we have accepted it. Those truckers of the 60s, they paved the way for us. They fought to get more money and make a living, which kind of opened up the road for us. And nowadays, we're all kind of self-centered, and me and another driver were talking about that today. We kind of just worry about ourselves. We don't worry about anybody else. And that's wrong. And that's something I wanted to touch on, Maybe we could do better, But anyway, let's get into things that are wrong in the industry. All right. I kind of made a list because, as some of y'all know, my memory's not the best. I tend to forget some things sometimes, So, but anyway, I kind of made a list, and it's in no particular order. All right. But the first thing I'm talking about is detention. I don't know if y'all know this, but most companies get paid detention off of the GPS unit that's either in your Qualcomm, your PeopleNet, or whatever your company uses. All right. That's how they figure it. Your arrival call and that type of stuff. As some of y'all know, I got a friend of mine that's a broker, and that's the way he does it. He has his guys that are hauling his freight download an app that tracks them, and he's able to tell when they showed up and when they left. And if he's entitled detention pay on that load from the customer, that's how he files it. Guarantee. C.H. Robinson, all these companies are doing that same thing. If you're an owner-operator, some of y'all may know this, some of y'all may not. But if you're an owner-operator, if you don't get paid detention, you can actually file that on your taxes. Now, there's a couple things you have to do in order to file it properly, so you don't get yourself in no trouble. One of them is you need to print your log from that day that shows when you got there and when you left. Number 2, you have to have a reasonable number, and they have a reasonable number for a dry box, reefer, flatbed, whatever it is. And if you don't get paid, you can actually file that as a deduction. A lot of drivers don't even realize that they're losing $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 a year. They could file in deductions from detention pay they were never paid, and it would benefit them at the end of the year. So realistically, they could kind of get paid for it. All right. Now, if you work for a company as a company driver, you're not filing long form, you can't do that, so you just kind of lose it. What sucks though is these companies a lot of times are getting paid for it, but we're not as drivers. I'm not for big government or more government control, but this is actually somewhere where I believe the government does need to step in. Labor board or whoever it is that's over that type of stuff needs to step in and say, hey, hold on, wait a minute. Yes, it's your truck. Yes, it's your trailer. Yes, the production on your truck was held up, and the production on your trailer was held up as well. But that driver was held up also, and he or she makes a living driving that truck. When we're held up at a shipper or receiver, we can't leave. We're basically hostages until the load's done. Why are we not fighting to get paid for that? I mean, it blows my mind. How we just accepted it as normal when it's not normal. If I'm at Albertsons getting unloaded, whatever amount of time I'm there, I'm not free to do anything else. I'm only free to sit right there and wait on them to unload it. I should be getting paid for that. Though that's time that could either be my personal time somewhere taking a break, or I could be on another load making money. So it's not fair nor correct when the company is benefiting from it and us drivers kind of get pushed out. All right, that's the first topic. Some of y'all may agree, some of y'all may not agree, and that's fine. We don't all have to agree. That's just my opinion on it. Another thing, let me grab my sheet. Put it down. Detention. Okay. The other things, if you haul a dry box, reefer, I understand. Reefer, you have to go get it washed out. You're not actually doing the work. Although I do feel like reefer drivers should be paid at least the miles for having to go do it. Because it is something that drive time's coming off of your clock. It's using your 70. So those are hours you're not going to be able to use to make money if your company doesn't pay you to go get a washout. At least the miles to go do it. So it's basically free miles, which isn't right either. But as a dry box driver, a lot of times we're required to clean these trailers out. Let me use an example. I feel like if a customer requires every trailer being dropped on their lot or brought in for a live load to be clean when it arrives, then anything they unload should be clean when it leaves. All right, follow what I'm saying here. So let's say I deliver to Kellogg. I'm gonna go in Kellogg, do a drop and hook, and I'm taking the load that I'm picking up there is going to another Kellogg. When I arrive to Kellogg, Kellogg's going to get in the trailer. They're going to inspect the trailer. They're going to make sure it's clean with no holes. All right. That's reasonable. There's nothing wrong with that. All right. Now, I drop that trailer. It's clean. I swept it out. I drop that trailer. I pick up a trailer at Kellogg and I go to another Kellogg's. All right. Now, I drop that trailer at the other Kellogg's and then I pick up one they've already emptied. That trailer's dirty all through it. Now I've got to go clean that trailer too. If Kellogg's requires a trailer to be clean coming into their lot, how come they don't give back the same thing they require? Because I don't get paid for that. Not only do I not get paid for that, I got to go find a place to do that at. They're not going to let me sweep it out there, a lot of times. So I've got to go find a place to do that. I got to find a place, hopefully, that has a trash can so I don't just dirty up the ground sweeping out all their dunnage out on the ground. That's something else that really needs to be addressed in this industry. It's work that we're doing for free. I know a lot of drivers will say, well, that's trucking. That's a bad way to look at something, man. Especially when it benefits you as a driver to get paid for it. Here's something else. You know, in the trucking industry, they're like, man, I don't understand why more people aren't coming to do this job. Well, think about it. Basically, you're telling somebody on the street, hey, come drive trucks for me. Go get your CDL, come drive trucks for me. I'm going to have you sleep out trailers for free. I'm going to have you fueling trucks for free. I'm going to have you doing pre-trips for free. I'm going to have you doing post-trips for free. I'm going to hold you up at shippers and receivers, sometimes for hours, for free. We're only going to pay you the miles that you move, and then we're not even going to pay you all of that. We're only going to pay you what we say the miles are between point A and point B. Have you ever thought about how much as a truck driver we work for free every year? We work a lot for free. You know, you might pull off the fuel and say, man, it only took me 8-9 minutes. Okay, well, add up 8-9 minutes for every time you fueled for the year. You might do a pre-trip and say, well, it only took me 15 minutes. All right, add up that 15 minutes every day for a year. You follow what I'm saying? When you get to the end of the year, we're losing $10,000 or $15,000 a year just in all this extra stuff that we do and don't get paid for. What if we were actually paid the miles that it actually is? Some companies pay zip code miles. So they pay outside of zip code to outside of zip code. You're working for free on both ends of that load. Plus you're working for free cleaning that trailer out. Plus you're working for free every time you fuel it. If you got a reefer, you're working for free every time you fuel that too. You're going to work your first 10 or 15 minutes every morning doing your pre-trip for free. And I'm, look, in the old days, I used to think to myself, oh, that's just part of it. That's just part of it. And it took, and to be honest with you, I'm a C plus man. Like old Phil Robertson would say from Duck Dynasty, I'm a C plus man. It took me years to put together, hey, hold on a minute. I'm getting screwed here. And we all are. You know, and these young kids coming out, or these youngsters coming out, they see that. Look, if you go to work for Walmart, if they call you in for a 15-minute meeting, they pay you for it. You know why? Because back in the mid-90s, they were sued for just that, for not paying people for every minute they were on the clock. You know, a lot of these companies want to force dispatch, which technically that's an hour. When you got forced dispatch, that's an hourly employee, not contracted load-to-load employee. So that changes the game altogether. Then they ask you to do all these extra things that you don't get paid for. And think about it. How much of the freight are we actually making? If you're a company driver, even here, if you're doing 60 cents a mile, have you not looked at the load boards? Have you not looked at the averages? You know, we're getting 60 cents a mile for dry box freight. Dry box freight right now on the average is $2.80. That's an average, $2.80. Plus, they're going to keep most of the detention pay, most of the layover pay. You know, any extra pay that comes along with that load, they're going to keep it all or most of it. So why can't they pay us for the little extras that we do? Why not? Some company, you know, when I worked for Tyson did do that. That was one of the things that I did like about them. If we swept a trailer, that was $25. But most companies out here don't. All right, I'm gonna leave that topic alone. I'll let y'all think about it. Let's see here. Yeah, that's what I got. That's what I wrote down. There's a lot more things that are wrong with the industry, but this would be a pretty good start. You know, and just because some of us that have been out here for years have accepted it as the norm, and we just say that's trucking, that don't mean we're right. And to be honest with you, when I think back on every time I've ever told somebody that's trucking and it's okay, man, I sounded like an idiot, because basically what I was saying is, I'm okay with being a slave. I'm okay with working for free. I'm okay with doing something and not getting paid for it. Man, how dumb that sounds. That's like, man, let me come mow your yard for free. I ain't worried about it. That's lawn care. You hear how dumb that sounds? These things need to change, drivers. And these things are not going to change unless we make a stand on it. Unless we stop accepting it as the norm. Yes, it might be $25, $30 or $100 a week. Man, if that $25, $50, $100, whatever it is a week, that's money you could be putting in your pocket. It could be going to feed your family. If you're an OTR driver, you're spending 85% of your life away from your family. Let me tell you, my son went all the way through high school. He played football for 4 years. He lettered in football. I saw 3 games. 3 football games in 4 years. The rest of my life was spent out here on the road. And eventually you have to ask yourself, well, how much is my life worth? How much is your life worth, driver? You're telling me that you feel like your life is worth so little that you're willing to work for free? You don't think you're worth no more than that? Look, not even in prison do you work for free. Yeah, you work for a little bit of money. You might be working for 18 cents an hour at your job, or 28 cents an hour, or whatever it is up to now. I ain't been locked up in a long time. But you're still getting paid for every hour you're working. You know, we can't even get paid for everything we do. And then every time a company gives us a little bit, they act like it's the world. You know, just for a little, here's a couple cents a mile. Well, on an average of 2,500 miles a week, that's $50. So you give me $50 a week. I guarantee you, for that $50 they gave me a week, they made $5 grand. You know. But anyway, I'm gonna quit rambling. I don't want this video to go on. It could go on for hours. What do you feel like are some changes that need to be made in the industry? What do you feel like would make this industry better, safer? I know this 30-minute break is crap. All it does is make our day 30 minutes longer. It doesn't do anything. You're not gonna go take a nap in 30 minutes. When they made that 30-minute break, it did 2 things. It made the day longer, and it filled up fuel islands, because that's where everybody started taking their 30-minute break. But anyway, I'm interested in what your thoughts are. How do you think pay should be set up? What would compensate it to make it level, make it fair? How much money do you feel like you're losing every year? Anyway, hit that like and subscribe button. There's a lot of information on this channel. There's going to be a lot more information coming out on this channel. I hope everyone out there is being safe. Remember that we are a family. We stand up for each other. Help each other. You see that guy struggling to get into a spot, man, hop out there and help him. It won't take 5 minutes. But y'all stay safe. Keep it between the lines. Take care of yourselves and keep trucking.